Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Citizen Live at 1 online edition. I am Terry Ann Chibet. Now, 3,073 candidates who sat the 2014 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education exams scored a min grade of A plain, but following the ban on ranking of schools, the Ministry of Education did not announce the mean score of the top performing students. Professor Jacob Kaimenyi, who today released the KCSE 2014 results, reiterated that the ban on ranking will not be reversed. The over 400,000 students can access their results via mobile by sending a short text message, that's SMS, including their index numbers to 22252, that's 22252. Nearly 100,000 places are up for grabs in public universities and the middle-level colleges. Early childhood development, business and technical examination results were also released alongside the KCSE results.
I wish to reiterate that with effect from the 2014 national examination, my ministry discontinued ranking at national, county, and even sub-county levels. This is a policy decision, ladies and gentlemen, taken by the government that was informed by the demerits of ranking, which I said last time far outweigh the merits of the same.
These young boys and girls, from today, the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Board will begin the process of placing them. Various universities, various colleges, tertiary colleges.
Now, 5 national schools were involved in irregularities during the last year's Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimenyi says these schools contributed in part to the 2,975 cases of cheating that were recorded, representing a 22% reduction of irregularities. That's from 2013's over 3,000 cases of cheating. Now, the Education CS has also warned school heads against flouting new school fees guidelines. Professor Kaimenyi has cautioned schools against withholding exam certificates over school fees arrears, saying head teachers of such institutions risk facing disciplinary action.
Others were caught with unauthorized materials. Mobile phones are good, but they can also be a disaster. And 79 were caught with mobile phones in the examinations. And yet at the beginning we tell them not to carry them. So they are using mobile phones to pass on messages.
Now, the government is working on a plan to gazette the new secondary school fee guidelines to ensure that they have legal backing to enable their enforcement. Now, in the new guidelines, the government set boarding school fees at 53,553 shillings per year and day school fees at 9,394 shillings per year. Some education stakeholders, including teachers' unions, have warned the new fees may not be sustainable. Education Principal Secretary Dr. Belia Kipsang says the government will engage more stakeholders on the issue of examination performance ranking. Now, meat lovers in Nyeri County are suffering in silence after butchers went on a go-slow protesting over what they called unwarranted levies by the county government. Now, the go-slow has seen meat lovers go without their favorite meal, waving placards and chanting songs. The butchers stormed county government offices to protest against increased taxes. They claim the county government has increased the taxes by 400%, making it impossible to do business in the town. They further accuse the Nyeri County government of implementing tax hikes without consultations.
Kulikuwa tunalipishwa kwa 50 kwa ng'ombe zote. Sasa wanataka kama unabeba ng'ombe 10 ulipie kila ng'ombe 200. Sasa kanjo sijui wanataka pesa hiyo, sisi tuwe tukilipa hiyo pesa yote na sisi hatuwezi. Sisi ni wanyonge. Wanatulipisha 100. Ukishika ngozi ya mbuzi upatie kajo 100. na hii ngozi tunainunua shilingi 70. Tunauliza jamani, unaweza kununua ngozi moja ya mbuzi shilingi 70 alafu tena ulipie 100?
The body of a police officer who drowned in a dam in Wajir town has been found after a 2-day search. The officer drowned on Saturday evening while washing a vehicle with other police officers. The body of the deceased officer has been kept at the Wajir County Hospital mortuary as plans to transport it to his home county of Busia are finalized. The officer becomes the latest casualty to die at the dam where hundreds of locals have drowned since the early 80s. Local leaders and residents have urged the Wajir County government to step in and help fence the area around the dam and ensure officials man the water resource. Now, several members of parliament from Nyamira County have faulted the government over the manner it has handled digital migration that has led to the switching off of 3 media stations. Speaking in Nyamusi, Nyamira County, the MPs, who included Borabu Member of Parliament Ben Momanyi, accused the government of putting Kenya in information darkness after the switch off. The MPs said that the move was illegal as it denies Kenyans the right to access information. Similar sentiments were shared by his North Mugirango counterpart, Charles Genny. The two were speaking during the launch of North Mugirango Uwezo Fund.
We want news. We want to know what's happening in this country on a daily basis. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Uhuru, wachana na Wakenya, fungua ma TV. Kama ni kura tena zinakuja 2017, tutaonana na wewe macho kwa macho.
Bila hao watu hamutajua nani amepiga mwingine ngumi. Bila hao watu hamutachukua hata bunduki imepatikana mahali. Hawa ndio watu wa maana, hao ndio macho yenu, ndio macho yetu. Wakati wameona maneno yo wanatangaza, wanaandika, alafu everybody anakuwa informed.
Uruguay's President Jose Mujica, who is commonly known as the world's poorest president, has stepped down after 5 years in office. The 79-year-old former guerrilla fighter now ends his term as one of the most popular leaders ever, having achieved a 65% approval rating on performance. Mujica has been living in a farm after he refused to move to Uruguay's luxurious presidential mansion, gives away about 90% of his salary to charity, and drives a 1987 Volkswagen Beetle. Since becoming president of Uruguay in 2010, he has earned a reputation for his simple lifestyle.
Mira, hermano, moneda no tengo, pero no lloré, carajo. Anda, anda. Vamos arriba.
Well, let's now have a look at the business news. John Kaimenyi has been reappointed to head the Kenya Revenue Authority for a second 3-year term. Njeraine, who was first appointed in March 2012, will begin his new term as KRA Commissioner General starting tomorrow. In a statement, KRA Chairman retired Major Marsden Madoka said Njeraine's term was renewed due to a steady 15% annual increase in tax revenue collections achieved under his watch. Between July 2011 and the end of June 2014, revenue collection has risen from 707.3 billion shillings to 963.8 billion shillings. By the close of the current fiscal year, at the end of June, the KRA is expected to have collected 1.08 trillion shillings. Njeraine's next term as KRA boss is expected to center on the use of technological interventions and improved processes to increase tax collections. This as the government mulls over plans to split the KRA into 2 bodies, namely an Inland Revenue Authority and a Customs Border Control Unit. Well, let's cross borders now to West Africa, where the International Monetary Fund has reached an agreement with the government of Ghana for a roughly 86 billion shilling loan to help the African nation stabilize itself after 3 years of declining economic growth and ballooning debt. Now, the deal could help restore investor faith in Ghana, a stable democracy and oil, gold and cocoa producer whose economy lost some of its luster after reporting a budget deficit of nearly 12% in 2013.
Ghana and the International Monetary Fund reached an agreement on Thursday on a 3-year funding deal worth $940 million or 86 billion shillings they hope will restore fiscal stability to an economy hailed until recently as an African star. The deal was clinched after months of talks prompted by the failure of President John Mahama's government to hit a series of targets on inflation, the budget deficit and growth, and a steep fall in the West African nation's currency. For years, Ghana's economy grew at around 8% on the back of gold, cocoa and oil exports, and it was rated one of the most attractive countries in Africa for investors because of its stable democracy and middle-income status. In his State of the Nation address to Parliament, Ghana's President John Dramani said that he would not just manage the economy, but he would fix it.
The economic benefits of a diversified and transformed economy are enormous. As a people, we must make a conscious effort to eat what we grow and add value to our primary raw materials. This will support a stable economy and create jobs and improve the GDP per capita and enhance the standard of living of our people.
But some members of the opposition have slammed the IMF deal, saying it would further entrench the countries into further financial crisis.
To avoid more hardships on our people, we should be very careful about loans from the IMF. The conditions normally are severe and will make it harder for us to emerge out of our bad situation.
In 2014, Ghana's economic growth fell to 4.2% as the government grappled with macroeconomic stability and lower global commodity prices. The economic crisis has led to severe power shortages. Under the New Deal, the IMF sees growth of 3.5% in 2015, rising to between 5 and 6% in 2017. IMF African Department Division Chief Joel Torges Barnett said the short-term priority was to stabilize Ghana's economy.
In this area, we expect the independence of the central bank to be strengthened, also to see strict limits of central bank financing to the government in order for the central bank to be in a better position to combat inflation and achieve its inflation target over the medium term.
The IMF board should ratify the agreement by April, and under its terms, Ghana will receive $664 million or 60.6 billion shillings in special drawing rights to be dispersed in tranches, conditional on the government meeting a series of targets. These targets include cleaning up government payrolls, whose ranks have been swelled by the addition of ghost workers, and to curb public sector wages, so the total bill falls to 7% of national output from 8.5% within 3 years. Some economists say it will be hard to maintain the terms of the New Deal ahead of the 2016 polls in which Mahama is expected to seek re-election.
Let's have a look at the currency market. The Kenyan shilling continues to hold its ground against the US dollar, supported by the excess liquidity mop-ups that the Central Bank of Kenya has undertaken over the last 1 week. This as Professor Njuguna Ndung'u's second term in office as CBK governor comes to an end today. Commercial banks are buying the dollar at an indicative rate of 91 shillings and 35 cents and selling it at 91 shillings and 47 cents. The local currency is trading at 102 shillings and 29 cents buying, 102 shillings and 46 cents selling versus the euro, while exchanging at 140 shillings and 57 cents buying, 140 shillings and 81 cents selling to the sterling pound. Taking a look at currencies that are closer home, the Kenyan shilling is unchanged to the Rwandese franc at 7 shillings and 48 cents buying and 7 shillings and 58 cents selling. Against the Tanzanian unit, the home currency is trading at 20 shillings flat buying, 20 shillings and 14 cents selling. And finally, to the Ugandan currency, the Kenyan shilling is exchanging at 31.59 buying and 31.74 selling. Well, and on that note, we wind up Citizen Live at 1 online edition. Thank you so much for keeping us company. I am Terry Ann Chibet. Have a lovely afternoon.